This is NHTV2, North Haven Government Television, a service of North Haven Community Television. The following program is brought to you through the support of the town of North Haven.
Good evening. I'd like to call the Board of Fire Commission meeting to order for Tuesday, February 18, 2025. I'd like everyone to please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. I'd like to ask for the approval of the minutes of the Board of Fire Commission regular meeting held on January 21st, 2025.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So moved. The Chief's report.
Good evening, all. A couple of quick things for you. We'll start with alarms. We are at 588 alarms as of yesterday. Our last commission meeting was on January 21st, so not even quite a full month of time this is going to cover. It's going to cover from January 21st until yesterday. So during which time we had 9 ALS transports or intercepts to area hospitals, 16 incident responses to the highway, 105 incidents in which just an ambulance was dispatched and no need for a fire resource to respond, and 56 different times we had overlapping incidents, which was 124 incidents in total. And so that was 36% of our calls that were overlapping incidents. That's our alarms. Regarding the budget, as of yesterday, and I realize February is not closed yet, but we are at 59.2% in our budget. Our fire fees are just about $275,000 in fire fees for the fire marshal's office, and on the ALS billing side, we're just about $70,000. A few staffing shortages that are impacting the budget. The first being is that we have 2 members at the Connecticut Fire Academy that are due to graduate in June of 2025. We continue to have 1 member out on sick leave since September of 2024. We have 1 member out on injury leave since November 6th of 2024, and we have 1 member out on injury leave since December 13th of 2024. Besides that, we only have 1 shift right now that has 11. The others all have vacancies. That covers the budget. Regarding the fire marshal's report, that report was sent to you all by email prior to this meeting. Looking through that quickly, a few things: 14 plan reviews, 48 permits, 50 public records requests, 48 different inquiries. We called out the investigators to 3 different fires during the month of January. You can see there were several fires. One thing to kind of take note of there that kind of stands out is a battery within a cell phone caused a fire. Minimal damage, but in terms of the fire damage, but a lot of smoke damage, and that was within a business. That's something that we're not seeing a lot particular to cell phones, but we do know that the fires associated with lithium-ion batteries are a real concern, a real risk for fire safety. And so we're going to keep an eye on that and see if there's anything further with that particular cell phone that we need to work with the fire marshal's office with. Besides that, a couple of things on for my report is I provided in advance of the meeting started, provided a handout. So I was fortunate to represent the Connecticut Fire Service in the town of North Haven in Washington, D.C. Last week at the Congressional Fire Service Institute, and I provided to you a handout that was given and discussed to every one of our Connecticut federal legislators in D.C. I met with every single member of Congress and then some members, the congressmen or congresswomen themselves. And so these were the topics that were discussed. Nothing that I think we need to discuss here, but I just wanted to make sure that you were aware of what I was doing in DC while I was representing the town. Besides that, I also want to provide a couple of things to you. This shouldn't look too unfamiliar to you, but this is an NFPA fact sheet. This is specific to staffing standards, and so what I'm passing out is NFPA 1710. What I'm going to draw your attention to is the first page, the lower half of the first page, where it shows the number of firefighters required for individual different types of occupancies. And so you can see where we get that single family fire requirement of 16 to 17 firefighters. Where you look at apartment style, it jumps to 27 to 28. Strip malls, 27 to 28, and you start looking at large high-rise office buildings or apartments, you're looking at 42 to 43. I'd like to just have you keep that in mind, as well as the next page. On the next page, there's a chart on the right-hand side that shows the amount of time it takes to answer an alarm, process the alarm, the turnout, which means the amount of time it takes for the firefighters to be activated and to start en route to the scene. So you can see that when we start to account for all of that, that is a couple of minutes right there before the firefighters are even en route to a scene. And then how long, according to NFPA, which is a national fire statistics standards, how long it should take for the first engine to arrive, which is 4 minutes, and you can see the rest of the assignment. And so I reference that because the next handout I'm going to provide to you is relevant to this handout I just provided now. And that being, we have a student that is providing some GIS mapping statistics for us. We're really beginning to embrace more and more technology, particularly with that new program that we started. Are you missing one? With the new LMS program, which is first due. This is allowing us to really start taking some of our incidents that are occurring in town and overlapping them. And so what you have here, if you keep it in order, is you start with company one, which is headquarters, the next page, which is Monteluise, which is the station we're in now, the next page, which is West Ridge, over on the Ridge Road side, and Northeast, which is across from Big Y. What you have here is a GIS overlay of traffic speed for how long it takes for fire apparatus to travel to various areas of town. So again, if we look at the time distance travel component to firefighting and why that's so important, right? We know that fires are doubling in size every 30 seconds to a minute right now, and we know that we have a need to be able to arrive on scene with a given number of firefighters that we have in this first packet I provided to you. And then you have the GIS overlay here, which shows how long it takes within each one of our stations for us to arrive within 3 minutes and 5 minutes based on the station location.
And that's if you're starting from the station.
Correct. That's if you're starting from the station. And that is, you can also begin to see as we start looking at traveling from, let's say, Monteluise, right, or headquarters to other areas of town, how long it's taking us. And so this is why the fire stations in town, we've always had 4 fire stations, and they were always able to turn out fire engines inside of a couple of minutes if they were a volunteer, or within a minute to a minute and a half if they were a career. And obviously, as we've discussed in recent conversations, that's no longer the case. Both Northeast and West Ridge are closing now, Monday through Friday, from 7 to 3 or 7 to 5, and in some cases that's extending into the evenings and weekends. And so when you take just those 2 stations now, and take the first 2 pages, which is headquarters and Monteluise, and you look at the travel distance for us to get to areas of town, because those stations now are closed. So just some more data. Seems like there's a lot of people who are pretty conscious about the data provided, and so you can't dispute the GIS data that's provided to you here, or a national standard that we are held accountable to if something bad were to ever happen. So that concludes my chief's report. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
I have a couple of quick ones on the current staff situation. So we have only one shift that's 11, but there are 5 members that are out. So what are the other, some of them are less than 10 then?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
because of the injury leave and so forth, yeah.
okay,
Yep, so we're paying overtime every day.
okay.
Chief, thank you for these fact sheets and the work that the student has done. This is very eye-opening. And, obviously the founding fathers who strategically located the fire stations in the geographical areas of the town did it specifically for response time. And it's becoming more and more difficult, as is noted here, for us to respond within the appropriate time frame. And residents need to understand that, we're doing the best that we can geographically with the staff that we have. And as the volunteer stations, as the volunteers are unable to respond during certain hours of the day or the evening, it's going to make it even more difficult for us to respond in a timely manner, which would cause more damage and potentially more injury, which we're all deeply concerned about as far as our commission and certainly our leadership in the fire department.
Well, if you take a look at the Outer Ridge area, which is the top left-hand side of the map, and you look at either West Ridge or Northeast, this is one of the reasons why there was discussion at one time about adding a 5th fire station in North Haven to that section of town, because we can't get there in 8 minutes from either of those 2 stations.
Yeah. Well, again, it's very eye-opening, and, thank you for bringing this to our attention. It's going to be critically important to make sure that the members of the Board of Finance and the town administration understand this as well. As we are advocating for additional firefighters in our budget this year in order to attempt to deliver the quality customer service in the time frame that we're committed to provide the services to. It's going to continue to be a challenge for us.
Well, take a look at it. Just wanted you to have it as another tool in the toolbox for you.
The other thing I was looking at, Chief, is the high-rise apartments and the fact that we have most recently had a number of high-rises built on Washington Avenue, and another is being proposed right down here on Middletown Avenue here. Looking at 42 to 43 firefighters in the event of a fire in one of those buildings. Obviously, that requires us to request mutual aid, and mutual aid takes a period of time before they respond.
Correct.
I'm not quite sure what the time frame is, but I know it's a significant period of time. Thank you, Chief. Any questions of the Chief regarding his report? Hearing none, we'll move on to correspondence. Chief, have you or...
Other than the day-to-day correspondence, I have nothing to share.
Okay. Have we already announced the correspondence from the deputy?
No, I believe that was received since the last meeting, so he provided correspondence that his last day would be the end of this month.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we received a communication from Deputy Chief Aubert dated January 24th. Board of Fire Commissioners, I'm writing to inform you of my intent to retire from the town of North Haven on February 28th, 2025. Sincerely, Jeffrey S. Aubert, Deputy Fire Chief. We have accepted his his retirement request, and certainly thank him for his years of service to our department. The Aubert family has been part of the fire department and continues to be since the inception of the North Haven paid fire department, and even before that, when it was all volunteer. And so we certainly thank Deputy Aubert for his years of service and wish him the very best in his retirement for him and his family. Any other communications, Chief?
No other correspondence.
Have any other commissioners received any correspondence? Here or none, we'll look at old business for the fire department.
Chairman, I have no old business or no new business to present. I have several items for the good of the department.
Okay. Any old business on
Is
behalf
there
of the
any,
commission?
in terms of apparatus or anything like that, is there any, like, recent major issues that,
In terms of the apparatus, we're just about finished with all of the preventive maintenance for this current fiscal year. So we do a fiscal year preventive maintenance schedule on that, and so we're just about done with that now. Besides that, the primary ladder truck went out of service today with some engine trouble, and we don't have a time frame yet on that to return. Rescue 2 was out of service for about 3 weeks, and that just returned to us. Might have been a little bit longer, but nothing catastrophic at the moment. But we're trying to see what's going on currently with the ladder truck.
When will we have that evaluation?
I would hope by the end of the week.
Okay.
We have vendors for these
Yeah.
things. Again, without our own mechanic, we have to
Yeah.
take it out of service and wait now for us to kind of be in queue to have it evaluated.
Was this the same ladder truck that was out when we had to lease a ladder truck?
No,
No.
nope, that was an engine.
Okay. No new business, Chief. Good of the department.
So remodeling at Northeast is continuing right now. The next time perhaps we're all there, I can provide you with an update as far as how it looks. Mechanical, which is HVAC right now, and plumbing is scheduled to start shortly. I do not have any idea as far as when we're going to be complete there. We've hit a number of complications just trying to secure the correct quotes and work within the means of the finance office to move this forward. So that's where we're at right now. We have 2 apparatus that remain on order. These were ordered in December of 2023, and we anticipate delivery perhaps later 2025 for one and later 2026 for the other. We do not yet have a definitive timeline on those. Hopeful that those orders stay intact and that there's no delays. That will bring our fleet to where it needs to be in terms of overall age. We will, for the first time, have apparatus that are under 25 years old. I just prior to this meeting started, sent the commissioners an email with draft language for an ordinance that's being put together for the volunteer firefighters. I wanted to spend a moment and talk to the commissioners about that. So that has been presented and discussed at a Board of Selectmen meeting. I'm waiting on a date for this to go to a town referendum. What this language is essentially doing is we have had a discrepancy, if you will, in our volunteers for several years, where those who live in town and have taxes are eligible for an abatement, and the abatement is set by the town, but in conjunction with the state of Connecticut that allows us to provide so many taxes in abatement off of their property tax. In this particular case, what happens is it is based on call volume and drills, and so they do not get the abatement unless they attend so many calls and so many drills. So it's a tiered abatement. The problem is that unless the volunteer, if the volunteer lives out of town, then they don't get anything, right? There's no taxes. So this particular ordinance is intended to allow a check to be issued to the volunteer in the amount equal to the abatement earned. And we would develop a line within the fire department budget that would allow for us to be able to compensate equally those volunteers that put in just as much time as those who are receiving an abatement. And so there's a discrepancy right now between those who live out of town and those who live in town for volunteers. And that's always been an issue for us. We don't have that many volunteers overall right now, but we do still have a handful that live in surrounding towns and rightfully so deserve something equal to what those who live in town have. On the other side of it, the other issue that is going to address is we always want to attract young firefighters, right? The individuals that are coming out of high school and going into college, well, they typically don't have a lot of taxes in their own name for any variety of reasons. And so while they might work enough to be eligible for an abatement, they get nothing because they have no taxes in their name. And so this ordinance is also going to help to make sure that the young volunteer, let's say, that has no taxes receives a check equal to the abatement. And so it's long overdue. We've been trying with the town attorney for quite some time to get this done, and I want to thank Mike Frieda for seeing this through. We've been talking to the volunteers about this for quite some time as well. So when that meeting does come up, I would ask the commission to support the ordinance proposal and to be in attendance to voice your support.
No, Chief, I'm very pleased to hear that this is coming to a head. I know last year you, Mike Frieda and myself attended a volunteer meeting, and they were throwing out various ideas and thoughts about how to make this equal. And I was particularly interested in listening to some of the young volunteers who, as you said, have no taxable property and might still live at home, and we're asking for some monetary reimbursement, equal to what their fuel cost is to go back and forth to the volunteer station. For many of them that respond more frequently than some of the senior folks do. So I'm really pleased that this is going to be written and brought forth out of referendum. I certainly encourage our commission and residents to vote in favor of this. Volunteers for many, many years have put in many hours of work and dedication to this town and save tremendous amounts of tax money in doing so. And for the small number of volunteers that we have currently, I think it would be very fair to provide that kind of abatement for those that live in town and those that don't, and also for those that do not have taxable property. So thank you for keeping that alive, Chief. I appreciate that, and thank you to Mike Frieda as well.
Just a quick question, just out of curiosity. Why do volunteers come to North Haven if they live in a surrounding town? Why wouldn't they volunteer in their town?
So it could be a variety of reasons. We have some volunteers that live in North Haven that volunteer in North Branford. Sometimes it's just a matter of what the department is doing, what interests them. They might have friends on their respective department, and in some cases, some of the surrounding departments their volunteers are not active enough to keep them engaged.
And some of them live right on the border. They're right around either Hamden, Wallingford, or East Haven, right on the border, so they could respond fairly quickly.
How many live out of town?
We're looking at it right now, so it ebbs and flows, right? And so Mike and I are right now talking about a $20,000 operational line to take care of this. That would likely take care of this for the next several years, because we don't normally have anything more than 5 at most. But what could change is you suddenly get 3 young firefighters who join, and so we have several right now that are joining as probationary members, and so it could change. We don't know. And then the other thing that could drive that is how much did they earn? Did they earn $1,000 or did they earn $2,500? And so there's no way of accurately being able to predict that moving ahead. I just don't know for sure, but we're pretty confident the $20,000 line will take care of it, at least for the foreseeable future.
So will that be retroactive?
It will not be. It'll likely be retroactive for this current fiscal year, I would imagine. That's something that we'd have to ask during the town meeting.
Thank you, Chief. Anything else for the good of the department?
The only thing I had was that we did have 2 new recruit firefighters that started recruit school on February 10th, so they're into week 2 right now. That's all I have.
Very good. Public comments, I see there's no one here. I'll entertain a motion to move into executive session.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. I'd like to reconvene the Tuesday, February 18, 2025 North Haven Fire Commission meeting to order. Is there any further business coming before this commission? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This meeting's adjourned. Thank you very much.
The preceding program is brought to you in part through a grant from the town of North Haven. Watch town meetings or other videos on demand at nhtv.com.